Congressman, obviously Democrats are keen on wrapping this up quickly and making it go away. They might succeed. If that is the case, what do you think?
Well, Neil, great to be on. It's not surprising that our Democrat colleagues over in the Senate want to get this off of the Senate floor. The last thing they want to have is a full trial exposing the actual truth to the American people of what is happening to our nation and the shirking of responsibility, in fact, the dereliction of responsibility by the Secretary of Homeland Security. Whether it's on his own or on behest of the President of the United States is immaterial. The fact is the Secretary swears an oath to the Constitution and to follow the law, and he's not doing that. We're bearing the brunt of that in Texas in particular and throughout the country. We've seen the headline cases like Lake and Riley. We've seen a staffer of a Democratic member of Congress who was unfortunately killed by a drunk driver who was here illegally. We have seen countless examples, bodies that are washing up in Texas along the Rio Grande. We had 24,300 Chinese nationals just this fiscal year, which is more than all of last year. So in 6 months, we've already surpassed last year, 85% of whom are single adults. Let's compare that to the 381, not 1,000, 381 in President Trump's last year in office. This is purposeful. We were right to impeach him. He lied to me under oath. He said that they had operational control of the border. I put the statute right up in front of him. He then went and testified in a different way in another committee. He's trying to obscure the truth. Democrats do not want the American people to see this. They're getting killed at the polls. But this isn't political. I take issue. Chad does a great job, by the way. He does a really fabulous job reporting on the Hill. But I take issue with him that it's political. This is important for the American people to understand. Second time in American history, we have impeached a sitting cabinet secretary, and in this case, because he has violated his oath to carry out his duty.
So, Congress, let me ask you this. Obviously, the DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas himself is not commenting on this, but the DHS office is saying all of these allegations are baseless. And I quote here, congressional Republicans should stop wasting time with unfounded attacks and instead do their job by passing partisan legislation to properly fund the department's vital national security missions and finally fix a broken immigration systems. Cutting to the chase, Congressman, they seem to say this is on you, not you specifically, but Republicans.
Yeah, well, of course they are. Right? They've been passing shame bills over in the Senate. Democrats have no interest in owning their responsibility here, having wide open borders, endangering the American people. The Secretary of Homeland Security, Alejandro Mayorkas, knows precisely what he's doing. He's trying to cast blame where it doesn't belong onto Republicans because we won't advance legislation that sham legislation that have no chance of actually securing the border. The President of the United States and the Secretary could secure the border if they chose to do so, or at least they mostly could. We could pass some laws to help them, and we have done that. H.R. 2. It's sitting on the desk in the Senate, and Chuck Schumer refuses to pass it. It's not what they claim it to be, that it's somehow some wild-eyed bill. Literally what the bill says, so every American knows this, the bill says if you're here illegally, or even if you have a claim, as our law requires now, you should be detained. That's pretty much what the bill says. Detain people who are here, if they've got a claim, adjudicate them, and then remove them if they don't have a legitimate claim. If we did that, the flow would slow down to a small, manageable number. Anybody with a legitimate claim we could process, and we could secure the border. They refuse to do that. The Secretary is trying to mislead the American people, as he always does, which is one of the reasons he was impeached properly by the U.S. House.
Real quick, I want to ask this is more a dumb question than anything meaningful, but he's not going to be impeached. I'm sorry, he's going to be convicted. He's been impeached in the House. But it doesn't look like 67 U.S. senators are going to convict him. But let's say it's wrong. Let's say it does happen. The president is going to appoint a new Homeland Security Secretary who I'm betting will do exactly what Mayorkas has done. Do you go after him? Do you keep impeaching guys?
Well, first of all, we have a duty in the House to have appropriate oversight. We've tried to conduct that, as you noted, in the second article of impeachment they're debating over in the Senate right now. He has been untruthful. He has obfuscated the facts. So we've not been able to conduct that oversight.
Will be the same way, right? Congress's successor will probably do the same thing, and he'd serve at the pleasure of the president and do exactly the same thing. So will this change anything? If he got to the point of being convicted and he's done.
Well, first of all, he should be convicted. And look, like I was a former federal prosecutor. If I wanted to take something, get an indictment because I thought somebody had violated the law and I looked at the statutes, you get the indictment. You go to trial. Let the jury decide. If the Senate doesn't want to convict, and this is not the same as a jury, right? This is political. Most of these no votes are because Democrats have decided not to do it because it's political. That's the actual truth.